it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Amabile choir director, Sylvia Cauter, who's the music director and conductor. And she's here to talk about how the organization has responded to COVID and reflects on the group's recent virtual concert available at their website. And I'm also would like to introduce Ginnilyn Hawkins. She's a wonderful alto. Yay, altos. And, and she's also going to be here to let us know more about what goes on at the choir. So Sylvia, we'll start with you and let us know, what is your background and what have you been doing?
Okay, well, thank you, Karen, and also Reed for this opportunity. I've just completed my 27th year at North Kitsap High School, being the choral director there. 27, yeah, and I taught 9 years in California prior to moving up to the Pacific Northwest. So in addition to that, I am the choir director and the worship assistant accompanist for the Bethany Lutheran Church on Bainbridge Island. And then in 2017, I was approached by Ann Pell, who is the founder of Amabile. She contacted me and she asked me if I would be interested in sitting in on a couple of rehearsals and taking over the choir because she was going to be moving to Italy. So I sat in and I thought, and I had heard the group before and I thought this could really be a fun experience, working with a variety of ages, not only high school students. And I decided to take over in 2017. So that was my first season and we're now looking at fall 2021. And this, last spring, it was like I took that second season off of last year because my sister was sick, took a leave of absence, and that actually played out well because, of the pandemic. And so I was thinking, what should I do? What can we do as a choir to keep choral music going? Because these Amabile members are so passionate and they love singing. A lot of them sing in the Bainbridge Chorale or they sing in small groups. And I thought, we just have to keep this choral music going. And after, talking with some of the members and the board, we decided to try doing the virtual choir experience. And it's been quite a journey, hasn't it, Ginny?
Oh, interesting challenges, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting. But I just felt like we just couldn't shut the door on Amabile for this year. I thought, we just really had to keep it going. And we couldn't do it this could not have worked without the patience of the choir members. And we had some people that when we sent out surveys, we asked them if they'd be willing to try this. And we had probably anywhere between 25 and 35 that followed through with it for both seasons, which I felt really good about. Ginny, would you like to add anything to this?
I would just say that it is challenging and a little bit intimidating to do a vocal part to be added to the bigger picture through Zoom. So you stand by yourself, and do you want me to explain it a little bit now, Sylvia, or do you want to wait a little bit?
Sure. Why don't I just give a little bit of a background on all the different pieces, and then let's go ahead and have you talk about what it was like from your viewpoint.
Great.
Yeah, when we started, we decided, okay, obviously I had to choose music. And one of the things when you choose music for a virtual choir, you have to be very aware of the fact that you can't have a lot of contrapuntal music. You have to have music that has more of a texture of homophonic texture, chords moving together, because it becomes too complicated when you're not there in person with a conductor that can cue you at certain points. So the music, first I had to select the music. Then we started working on Zoom rehearsals, which basically was, you can't hear anybody. I'm playing a recording and we're singing with a recording, or I'm playing my part on the piano and then they're singing it, although I can't hear them sing. But you know, that's, and plus we sent out part recordings and all of that stuff so they would have that to work with. So that's how this first was, the selection of the music and then meeting on the Zoom rehearsals. And then we got to the part of time to record. And that's where these vocalists had to deal with multiple devices. And Ginny, you can take it from here on that, what it was like.
So first of all, you have to figure out where you're going to stand and how the lighting is. That's very important because, and that takes a while. You have to experiment with it. I used at least 2 devices for the music that I did with Sylvia, because she allowed us, thank you, Sylvia, very much, to hold our music if we needed to in our hands while we sang. And so then you take, I used my iPhone video portion of my camera to record my video for her. I needed another computer or tablet. I used my iPad to view Sylvia and the music that we were listening to, because we had to follow along so that everybody's, when the parts all came together, that we would all be on time. So Sylvia figured out a way to cue us when the music would start, and then we would sing our part. So what you do is you get earphones that plug into what Sylvia is directing and you're listening to, and you put them in your ears, obviously, so that when you're singing your part on the iPhone, nothing else can be heard when you're being videoed. So the first thing that I noticed when I started doing this is how my voice was the only voice I heard. And I have sung in big groups forever, for a long, long time. I have a degree in music and voice, and I sang in all kinds of choruses and choirs, but doing this was a completely different experience. So you have to figure out how much you want to hear the music that's coming in and how much you want to hear yourself, to make sure you're on the part, that you're in tune, that you're pronouncing your notes correctly and all of that. So I guess I would tell you, I'm being completely honest, that I probably did 10 or 15 takes of one video per song, because I would get almost all the way through. And now I sing alto, so I never had the melody, almost never had the melody. Occasionally the altos get the melody, but you know, I would have to wait to come in, and then I would have to make sure I was on. I would get all the way through the song, and then maybe at the very end, I would make a huge mistake that I just couldn't send. So then I would have to start over. So there you have maybe 10 or 15 takes by the time you're finished. Then the other challenge was how to send the video, because these are large files and not everybody has the same software. So they had figured out, between Sylvia and the technicians who worked on this, who were also singers in the group, how best to send them. And then Sylvia can tell you the rest of that story. So yeah, that was quite a challenge.
Amazing. Totally amazing.
It's definitely takes a lot of patience, because when I did all of the accompaniments, except for a couple of them that were canned accompaniments, and I'm telling you, I did the same thing. I'd start off, and then you're trying to record in a quiet setting. And if you have pets, okay, that's a problem. So I would have to make sure that my husband took the dog on a walk or whatever, so I had a quiet setting. But I would go through those accompaniments and record them, just like she said, sometimes 10 to 15 times, because I'd get to point, I'd make a little mistake, and I think, no, I can't do this, I've got to redo it again. Yeah. It was crazy. But most of them they uploaded, we used Google Drive, and none of this could have been done without having a technician to put all the pieces together with the appropriate software program. I think he was using Logic. I actually did this virtual choir with my high school kids, and it was not even close to being on the same par as what Mike Best did for us. But it was so time consuming. For one song, I spent 25 hours. Well, that's because it was my first time.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I was constantly looking at YouTube videos trying to figure out what to do.
Yes. The
So
editing must have been just amazing. Yeah, wow.
just lining everything up, and then, putting in, it's very, very interesting how you can manipulate all of the audio recordings. But I'll go ahead and show you just a short clip from the Ubi Caritas that we did by Michael Trotta. It is, let me share my screen. This one had about 32 vocalists, so it was one of the larger ones. And Olivia Sethny was the oboist, and she did a fabulous job. It's an a cappella piece other than the oboe part. So here we go. Make sure I get this right. I've been doing this all year, so.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of an idea. And that was from our recent spring concert.
Yes, that everybody can see.
Oh, wait, I can't hear you.
Oh.
Wait a minute. No, it's my fault. There. Oh, because I faded on the video.
Oh, yeah, I do that too, fading on that, yes. That everybody is able to see.
Right.
Online. You're able to see the spring concert, so.
Sylvia,
yeah.
Sylvia, you might say that when you see this performance on this Zoom, it's a little bit less together than it is when you go actually to the website.
Exactly.
Because it loses a little bit in the translation of another piece. So.
Right, just, yeah, because both times prior to the concert, we had a preview night through Zoom to watch the concert, and the quality's not quite as good because of the latency problem. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, Reed said, I'm guessing that this is how many pop musicians have been working for a while. So now you're ready to be rock stars. Yay!
There were two people that were, well, both are technicians, but Ron Burnham did such a great job of helping those members who just didn't know how to do it and they needed help. And she was the one who had great suggestions, And without her help and the actual person who put everything together with the software programs, Mike Best, without the two of them, this couldn't have happened. There's absolutely no way it could have happened. And I'm just so appreciative of all of the time and energy that all of the members put in, and the tech people, and it worked out. It really, I mean, I feel really great about the progress that we all made together, because seriously, we were thrown into this and it's like, okay, what do we do? I had attended some workshops last summer, you know, right after the pandemic started, American choral director workshops, and just trying to get me into the mood of wanting to keep going, because it would have been easy just to say, I can't do this. You know, because this is not what we do.
No. Reed, did you have something to say?
Well, I was just wondering, I know that now you'll be able to sing together again, and that will be wonderful. Do you think that you'll ever pull this little trick out of the hat again, just for old time's sake, or is this like best in the rear view mirror?
Actually, I've thought about that, and I think for maybe advertising the concert on social media, I can see doing like a small group singing a little bit, or singing a short tune just to advertise the upcoming concert. I don't think we're going to throw it away. I mean, I think back to the first person who started the virtual choir, Eric Whitacre, famous composer. And I mean, that first choir, I think, had like 185 people. Little did he know this was how we were going to survive this year. And the latest one, I don't know if you've heard any of his virtual choirs, but they're pretty amazing. The latest one he wrote during COVID, and it was actually recorded during COVID, called Sing Gently. And that one, I believe, had something like 17,000 or more singers from all over the world. They're amazing. If you haven't seen any of his virtual choirs, they're quite good.
Oh, Whitaker, okay.
Yeah, Eric Whitacre.
Eric Whitaker. I'm sure I've seen him. I just didn't connect the name. So, Rita, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I have two thoughts. When you were, I was thinking if you did a smaller Zoom, that would be kind of cool if that could be taken to like a place like with Alzheimer's patients or people who can't get out. It wouldn't have to be huge. That it would, even if you did a smaller choir, and it wouldn't have to be, an hour. It could be 15 or 20 minutes even, or 30 at the longest, would be a way to get that out to people who can't get to you. And then I was just going to say with Eric Whitacre, I have a granddaughter who has special needs, and I have a couple of his things downloaded on my phone. And I didn't show her how to use it. I mean, she just knows how to use this stuff better than I do. So she has a phone, and she found his album and downloaded it. And that's some of the songs on his recordings are some of her favorites. And she will play them when she has my phone. It's pretty amazing.
Oh,
pretty amazing.
That's great. And that is a good idea, where if we did a few of these, and then you could go ahead and show them with Alzheimer's patients. And definitely, I mean, I feel that community has suffered so much during the pandemic. I mean, I just think about one of the things I always do with my high school choirs. We go down to Liberty Shores, a couple times a year, and always sing for the residents. And the middle school teacher does the same thing. And it's so important, and they need that. And they just haven't had that,
Right.
Yeah.
It's been rough.
I know music personally has sustained me through this. I don't know what I've done without it. And I know that people that love to perform, they have to perform. And I mean, and people that want to hear the music have to hear the music. And it really did help us get through this. And I just thank you, Amabile. so much because you worked so hard and tirelessly, and I'm just so appreciative. And I also love it that you did "I Will" from the Beatles. Did you enjoy doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wow, old home week, right?
Oh, well, that's one of my favorite tunes, and I've done it several times. I have lots of different arrangements at the high school that I've done. And I just thought, got to throw that in.
Yeah.
I have to add to what you said, Karen. I think I sent at least 3 or 4 emails to Sylvia, which I don't usually send emails out like this, telling her how important it was for me personally to be able to sing during the pandemic. Music is way important to me, and it comes from my heart to be able to sing. And this just was such a good opportunity. And even through the challenges, it was something to focus on. And then it made you feel good when you were singing. It made you feel good when you were practicing. It was a wonderful experience. I am so grateful for that. It really got me through. So there you are.
There it is.
And even on the Zoom when I couldn't hear you, but just watching you and Sheila and, watching the group together, even if they were in the little squares.
I echo everything there. Everything, even as dramatically difficult it was for me to do this. And it really was, as you can well imagine. But it was amazing. I wasn't able to do all of it. I couldn't do the last 2. I don't know what happened. I just gave up, or I didn't have time or something like that. But the ones that I did, I was so pleased. And I know that it was such a joy because I had my granddaughter on there with me. And my other granddaughter, by the name of Sylvia Cauter, and my 2 granddaughters on there. And it was so lovely to watch them, the young one, and the joy and the beauty of these 2. It was just lovely. Thank you, Sylvia. Just beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. It was just, I'm glad we did it. And now we do look forward to hopefully being back at St. Barnabas and having an in-person concert. That's what we're hoping for.
Right. Yes. So, and then your high school choir, we got to work on that and, keep them going. Again, that, it really helps students that, are not into other extracurricular, that are into music, to have that outlet is just so important. And like I told you before, I need to go to school board meetings and raise a fuss and keeping the arts alive in our school.
I see that Reed had a question.
Yeah, Reed.
Oh, I was just wondering about the origin of the name, probably chosen earlier, but
it was chosen by Ann Pell, and it comes from the Italian loving, to sing in a sweet, lovingly manner, gracious. And Anne was the one who chose that. Maybe Jenny and Sheila are original members of Amabile, so they might know a little bit more about how she came about the name.
And I wondered whether it influenced some of your thinking about what kinds of music, or if it reflected some sort of a mission, or that sweetness and gentleness of the group.
Yeah.
Well, I think that possibly, I think it's a beautiful name. And I love what it's saying. I think it's a group of loving people. And, I try, when I'm choosing music, I just have so many, I don't know, it's hard to come up. I love so much choral music that I just do such a wide variety. And I just think about the people that's in the group, how loving, and how they just really took me in, because Ann Pell had quite the reputation on Bainbridge Island.
Oh,
and I live in Paulsbo.
Yes, but I understand you have quite a reputation as well. So
Well,
and I know you're beloved. So
well,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So what I know about Anne and the name is not a whole lot. She had traveled to Italy. She used to be the accompanist for the Bainbridge Chorale. And one summer they sent her to Italy to study directing, actually, and which maybe was their downfall. I don't know, because when she parted ways with the chorale, that's what made her get this group going. She wasn't sure what she was going to do. Anne was a good friend of mine on the island. I did some jazz singing with her. She was a jazz piano player as well as classical. And so we've been good friends for a long time. But she said that Italy influenced her a lot, and she is now living in Italy. So it wasn't surprising that she came up with an Italian name for the group, and that's as close as I know how the name came about. So she asked people their opinions and then said, "Oh, I think I've come up with this." So that's how she named the group.
Thank you.
Yes, and that's great to keep in your history.
Right.
Yes, that this is how it began. These were the origins of this wonderful group, and we just really are so thankful for you.
You know, every year that Sylvia brings out the new music for the season, we all say, "Oh, this is so beautiful." And then I would sing a song, and then I would say, "Oh, that's my favorite." And then we'd sing the next song, and I'd go, "No, I think that one might be my favorite." And she really does have a knack for picking some really lovely things. So
Yeah.
thank you for that, Sylvia.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Ginny.
Also, some fun things too. We've got some fun things. But yes, all the music is, there are some pieces, this is true now. There have been probably one piece every concert where I tear up. I get choked up because of the emotion and the passion and the beauty in the piece. And I remember one of my dear friends, Barbara Sauer, who is occasionally an alto and occasionally with me in a second soprano. Anyway, I remember her saying quite a long time ago, and this is very funny, when that happens, you can't sing. There's no way you're going to sing when you get choked up and with the passion and the tears and the whole 9 yards. She said, "Think Walmart." She knows how I feel about blockade. I wrote boycott Walmart. And, so every time I get to that point, say, "Okay, Barbara, okay, think Walmart, and I can get through with it. I can absolutely. Actually, I had another name for it this last 4 years, but we won't go into that. But and Karen probably will know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, anyway. But usually it's just think Walmart, and it's the most amazing thing. It works. It absolutely works.
Those little tears just dry up, huh?
Well, I think I'm going to have to try that, because I've caught myself a few times tearing up when I'm directing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that does happen.
Yeah. Well, when the music is part of you and it flows through you and it becomes part, just in your psyche. I mean, how can it not? I mean, it's going to bring all kinds of levels of joy and sadness and anger. I mean, that's what music does. It should bring those kinds of emotions. I know it does to the audience.
And
So when you think about it, I always think about how long it must take Sylvia, although from the years that she's been doing this, to come up with a whole program. I don't know if there's anything you would like to say about that, but I'm always curious at how, you have to pick a certain amount of tunes because you want it to be a certain length of time, and how you put them together. So how do you do that, Sylvia?
It's a process, because even though I've had, all these years of teaching at the high school level, I mean, there's so much good music coming out, that people are composing, and so I'm constantly listening, and I have a little journal where I write the names of the tunes down, and then I just, go back to that, and it takes me a really long time. I mean, because I have to be thoughtful in how and the order too of the pieces,
Right.
making sure the order fits. And then, do I have a theme? And it's not always easy to choose a theme. And sometimes I don't always want to choose a theme
Mhm.
because, I just like to, it's hard. It takes time, but I love it because I love listening to all the, on the next one of these concerts, I want to feature one of Sarah Rimkus's compositions. Sarah Rimkus used to attend Bethany Lutheran Church. She went to the University of Southern California. I don't know if you know her mother, Debbie Rimkus or Andy. Debbie is now working at our church again, but she has quite the reputation and she's composing some great choral music.
Oh,
So I'm hoping to include her in next year's season for at least 1 or 2 numbers.
oh,
But there are just a lot of young people that are writing great stuff.
yeah. That's one thing that during our karaoke thing, a lot of people go, oh, well, the music, it was just, it was good back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And it's like, wait a minute, there is some really great music being written right now.
Mhm.
We have to keep listening and keeping our ear out to what these young composers are doing and young
Right.
performers.
Definitely.
There's definitely some great stuff happening. So, and you obviously have your finger on the pulse of that world, in Sylvia, and that's fantastic.
I just try to keep up with it. I
Yeah.
do want to tell you one of the things, this has nothing to do with the Amabile, but it has to do with my high schoolers. They couldn't have, when they came back to school in April, they couldn't sing for about a month. Okay, so they had to sit in the room socially distanced, but they couldn't sing. So, we were allowed to hum though, but that got old. We learned, we bought them drumsticks and everything. But anyway, they finally got to sing once the appropriate masks showed up but the concert situation was pretty bleak, right? We couldn't do that. But I decided that I would have my booster club sponsor, and this was okay by my principal, sponsor we call it our candlelight, kind of a talent show night. And we did that the first Friday. I rented the Bainbridge Island Parks and Rec stage, and they placed it in the Bethany parking lot because it needed to be there anyway for baccalaureate on Sunday.
Mhm.
So I had about 20 to 22 groups that sang. So most of them were solos. There were a few duets and trios, but they didn't have to wear masks because we were outside. And the parking lot was pretty full. We had lawn chairs. People were socially distanced, but it was the highlight of the year. The kids were so excited that they finally got to perform live.
That is so fantastic.
It was absolutely wonderful. What a wonderful evening that was. Ann and I took Ann Brown with me, and she doesn't get out very much. She lives over at Madhouse, so she's been quarantined quite a bit of the time. But anyway, we went over, and it was such a joy to be there. And these children, young people, sorry, these young people are so talented. My goodness, there's some kids in there that are amazing. They were all amazing, absolutely all amazing. So thank you for that joy.
Oh gosh, thank you for coming.
Oh yeah, who would miss that? I wouldn't want to miss that.
Oh my gosh. Well, does anybody else have any questions or comments? So we're going to let Sylvia get back to work. I know she's a busy teacher, and and thank you for that, because teachers, they make the world go around as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you.